Listen, if you've been around in the crypto area for some time, you have probably heard of crypto summertime. And, well, XRP summer is enormously near, and actually the entirety in these markets are about to get absolutely insane. But what I can assure nearly all of you, it is not inside the manner that you might think. You see, these days, humans got manna too bullish, manna too early, and this path triggered quite a few crashes. We also have some distinct geopolitical events taking place proper now, like Israel and Iran accomplishing warfare sports. So there's loads of factors into play right here. And today we are going to be giving you guys a super analysis of what the markets are going to seem like for the following few months. So I want you guys to concentrate very intently to what Raoul is going to say and smash that like button so every person sees this. Let's get into the video. Really speaking, as I stated, crypto markets have a tendency to head bananas. So this is, you understand, we're talking currently the total market cap of crypto is set $2 trillion. By the stop of this cycle, it will be at $10 to $15 trillion. I imply it truly is LA land returns. I mean, that's crypto. Crypto gives that kind of possibility. The Nasdaq's been following this perfectly. So it simply keeps going. Whether we get any other 20%, 50% upside in the Nasdaq, or it may be more, we don't know. You can't simply tell. But the factor being is the profits are big. We'll also see commodities selecting up. We'll also see visible precious metals picking up. We'll see all parts of the economy and the shares picking up because the financial system is growing. Inflation isn't always but a trouble. And the significant banks are reducing costs and including liquidity to finance their money owed. That's utopia. That's what crypto is. A macro summertime, a macro fall. It's essentially marketplace utopia. People are there, maybe a massive group of people who want their justice. They want the device to disintegrate, to say, I instructed you so. You're printing cash, you're developing inflation, you are doing this. It's all unsustainable. And they don't want to see that what is genuinely taking place, this 8% debasement, is essentially all and sundry being charged 8% for a position choice on the gadget. That is actually maybe not that bad. However, they do not want to peer it. And then lots of folks who aren't invested in generation cannot stand the truth that it outperforms versus what become deemed to be the right way to make investments, which become the cost investor, the cyclical commodity deep value, that issue. And it has no longer been working for 30 years, but yet they need it to return lower back. So they get greater angry as markets move, and then they start drawing patterns approximately how it will crash. Well, markets are unlikely to crash, except it's similarly out the risk curve. But markets don't crash when the commercial enterprise cycle is selecting up. They crash while the commercial enterprise cycle is slowing down, and let's assume the ISM crosses 50. It never takes place at this factor of the cycle, so surely there may be no real rational argument. And the Fed are reducing rates now. They're pushing liquidity into the machine. The marketplace is buoyant, and the ISM is going to start selecting up. All of the ahead-looking signs are. So it's clearly hard to argue that there's a bubble and it will pop. Real short, earlier than we get into the video, I'd want to thank XRP for making this video possible. They furnished a short teaser video to expose you guys. Let's see what it's all approximately. Lulu, interesting. I'd want to understand what you guys think about this. If you need to examine greater about XRP, check the links down below. Now, let's get into the video. And when we get to the bubble argument, something else they leave out is they study price income and they say, see fee earnings hold going up there. It's getting wildly steeply priced. But rate and profits, if you recall the tale of your profits and house expenses, residence expenses are continually going up extra than your profits. Well, what is charge earnings? It's the proportion fee. That is driven by debasement. Corporate income, which might be pushed via GDP growth. So over the years, as we add liquidity into the machine, the whole thing code shows that fee income will preserve going higher because of this dynamic. But human beings don't apprehend it. So they appearance to a global of the past. Now, this has simply all been executed before. This isn't always a today's element. After World War II, that is what they did. They used yield curve control as a manner of stimulating the economy. And they basically grew their way out of it with the aid of refinancing the debts. And we had exactly the equal 4-year cycle back from approximately 1948 to approximately 1968. So we had 20 years of it back then. So there's one very vital factor here that I want to harp down on. And this is the truth that markets lag international liquidity by way of 10 weeks. Now, of root, we noticed the brand new China stimulus would not even seem the charts, but according to this, essentially what this indicates is all of that new money that's being printed via the Fed, all of that new cash that is being revealed by China, it is no longer found out in the markets till approximately 10 weeks after it happens. And what we understand is China grew to become the money printer back on. The Fed is likewise planning to do the equal element. And so that is what we want to be prepared for. And that is what all of you want to apprehend. Quantitative easing or cash printing doesn't mechanically imply that the markets are going to actually go ballistic right away. In truth, generally talking, the alternative does take place. Now, in case you guys have been following my videos, you'll have found out that I become speaking approximately that. In one in every of my current movies, I without a doubt went over this very identical phenomena, and sure enough, we were given a quite solid correction on Bitcoin. Now, with that in thoughts, we're going to be beginning to see a pleasing little pull again, Bitcoin is probably to go up once more due to the fact the stochastic RSI is indeed drawing close an oversold function. So if all of you proper now looking at this video do want to open up a long position on both Bitcoin, Ethereum, or even XRP inside the next couple of days, this is going to be a simply top-notch possibility. And in case you guys do that and join up the usage of my link, you are automatically going to be registered into my next buying and selling opposition, which does supply XRP rewards. And you may be trading any cryptocurrency to be entered into this competition, and you only must sign up the usage of my hyperlink, and you may also get $100 in trading and depositing bonuses for doing that as well. But with that being stated, there are some different elements we need to be aware of in the quick term that are going to have large results on the markets, and Raoul is going to dive deeper into this, so ensure you concentrate up. The answer was, macro made all of the returns in very short intervals of time in catastrophic markets. A market like COVID became great for me because I realized that playbook, you make loads of returns very speedy, but macro is turning into very hard. There became a few macro opportunities that got here considering 2012, but not many. After the European debt disaster, what did we've got? We had a disintegrate in the fee of oil in 2016, 2015. We had a decent upward thrust within the dollar inside the center, and that changed into approximately it. But equities outperformed everything, and all of the macro men overlooked that fashion. And this turned into my work that I did over COVID after I started out to reflect on consideration on debasement of Forex, after which start to think about the exponential age of technology and in which that is going. And you attain the moment, it's like, oh my God, this is all one thing. You know, we have growing markets, it really is growing extra capital that's flowing into generation. There may be riding technology, we're given the fastest tempo of technological change in all human records, and the critical financial institution has taken out the big dangers to the drawback. So all of a sudden, the records tells you to end up an optimist. It tells you that we are in secular traits, especially in tech and crypto. So even though they're unstable, each low is higher than the ultimate. And when you look again, they have got to outperform the whole thing. Even although you've had that volatility and you're like, why turned into ISO silly? Really, I may want to have just sold NASDAQ after I commenced my career, and I might have achieved tons higher. But the narrative is so captivating across the macro collapse, and the worry continues such a lot of human beings out of markets. And there's a whole bunch of people on X who've made a whole living out of the fear of collapse. And I understand you've been stuck up in that within the past. And that fear of disintegrate stops you investing, it stops you shopping for a residence. And appearance, what occurred? Your destiny self did not thank your past self because you ignored it all. And I've accomplished that. You realize I did not personal equities in any respect. And once I appearance lower back, you're like silly. But I did not in reality recognize, I did not truly apprehend what I know today. And now we're given all of these forces operating collectively, this hyper acceleration of technology, global principal bank liquidity, this is forcing stuff up.